Thank you very much. Our order for the second round will be as follows. Without any further ado or shenanigans to me for the time being.
Yeah.
We have Elliot, followed by Madrid, then June, Matthew, Ashley, Julia, and ending with Cameron. So let's go straight into it. Let's give a big round of applause. Welcome Elliot back to the stage.
Got it.
Go in.
What connects 2,000 years of genocide is too much power in too few hands. Simon Wiesenthal. I am an American citizen, a citizen of a system that marginalizes its denizens based on their melanin. I like to use big words when I can say them. They make me feel strong. They make me feel like a government, like I've got too much power in my hands. There are days that I feel like we need a superhero. Someone who will work as a janitor from 9 to 5 on their days and sweep oppression out of the door rather than just under the rug, or wax the floors of oppressive, racist institutions so well that you can see a face in them, that we can see ourselves in them. It's amazing how some people will look at the reflection and say, you missed a spot. It's as if they're afraid of looking in the mirror and seeing the face of genocide. I guess they wouldn't recognize it anyway. Current events show that our central institution needs their capital I's checked, so allow me to explain this clearly. This is not a gun. This is not a target. This is a weapon. I walk out of my house armed to the teeth, with tongue sharper than any knife you can plant on my corpse. I know that I have never been in the crosshairs, but it kills me to know that people are being put into them. The people who taught me to believe in myself, to be super when they were told that they couldn't, who sharpened my voice into a broadsword, to the heroes who were pushed to the front lines, where officers enforced the peace, with excessive use of force, their hands itching on their peace. You know all too well what it's like for there to be too much power in too few hands. I know that my skin is turning this nation into a war zone. I will not tell you to be heard. I will not tell you to speak up. I will not tell you to be loud. To the people who look like me, listen, there are people screaming at you. Listen, there are people trying to talk to you. Listen, there are people bleeding in front of you. You can say that all lives matter as long as you fucking act like that's true. Come on. Our nation began with the shot heard round the world. Your silence rings louder than any shot heard round a neighborhood. Call it what you will, but when backyard obituaries look like scenes from Hotel Rwanda, the word genocide comes to mind in the worst way. Understand that people are being forced into martyrdom because that is how you make the most of a murder. There is no disguising it. The villain lives down the street. He does not wear a mask, just skin that looks too much like a bed sheet. He drives a car that's light signal burning, bleeding, and bruising. He ran for office. He got elected. We named a building after him. He has too much power in his hands. The only way to fight against oppression is to face it head on. Be an ally. Be an activist. Be a superhero. And ask yourself if you see genocide when you look in the mirror.
Judges, 3, 2, 1, let it rip. I wanted to say that all night. For low to high, we have an 8.2, an 8.3, sorry, is that a 7 or a 9? That's a 7. Sorry, from low to high, we have a 7.8, an 8.2, an 8.3, an 8.3, and a 9.4. Give it one more time for Elliot. point time penalty.
You rat bastard! You're ruining it for everyone! But it was well worth it!
It's my fault. After a half-point time penalty, Elliot has a score of a 24.3. Good one more time for Elliot. And keep that applause on for our next one coming to the stage. Give it up for Madrid.
Keep going! Keep going! Hey!
50 years later, we're still stuck hitting the snooze button. 5 minutes later, back to the dream. 50 years later, back to the dream. How we gonna stay woke if we never stop sleeping? When MLK had a dream, he meant for it to become a reality. And through his vision from the past, it has come to be that black and white, girls and boys, do hold hands. But with all that hand holding, we've forgotten to raise a hand to erase race off of America's whiteboard. Now internalized racism has stemmed from institutional racism, and the enemy outside has become the enemy within. Our economic aches, lack of political participation, want for social acceptance, the hand of white privilege still chokes us for control, and we've been conditioned to lend a helping hand. Internalized racism has tore up at the insides of my people for too long, and I have to say we should be proud of every pigment of our brown, proud of how our dialect of English sounds and all the made-up words with it. Because it gotta make sense because they asked some of them to Oxford. And no longer can we fear remarks about our natural hair because it's natural. That's how natural beauty is. And maybe we should be a little less enthused about certain shows and songs that perpetuate generalizations and blanket statements, and all this is just a small list we need to realize. The dream will never be realized if we don't see we've been fed lies through sight and sound, and it dictates how we live life. So no matter what race you think you woke up as this morning, black, white, Asian, Indian, Hispanic, non-Hispanic, mixed as the human race, 50 years later, I have to say, we're all still dreaming.
Give it up for Madrid. Judges, 3, 2, 1 scorecards.
Don't be wrong.
We're them right this time. From low to high, we have a 7.8, an 8.5, an 8.8, a 9.1, and a 9.3. Give it up for Madrid. And that gives us a score of 26.4 for Madrid. And keep that applause going for the next one coming to the stage. Give it up for June.
Bring this word up.
I hate slam poetry. I hate the way that slam poetry is always telling me what to do, what to say, how to say it, even at what length. Slam poetry wants me to be incarcerated within the rules that it's made up. Never mind that maybe I need more than 3 minutes. Maybe a 1 to 10 scale with 1 decimal point does not accurately express the dopeness of what I have to say. I hate the way that slam poetry causes everyone to talk like this or become all about awkward, drawn-out inflections. I assume they're trying to match my gait, trying to match my roar, saw me on National Geographic, now they must be mesmerized right now. You were seeing me on a safari at Disney World, but set me free, and we'd lock eyes on my terms. You'd be prey. I would make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. I would be so close that I could sink my teeth in. But slam poetry knows best, is always holding me back. Slam poetry is my cage. A cage fit for a chihuahua, but I have always been a lion, always been a tiger, always been too much to bear. I hate slam poetry so much that I wrote it down, and now I'm reading this poem about how much I hate slam poetry at a slam. See, you don't know slam poetry like I do. Our conversations are always so hurtful. Once I told slam poetry that I was raped, and slam poetry told me to cut that third line about how it feels to have a man use me as a plaything because it might make the audience uncomfortable. I told slam poetry that my father has cancer, and slam poetry told me that's not gonna fit in 3 minutes, June. Slam poetry wants my poems to go on a diet. Well, fuck you, slam poetry. My poems will be fat, will take up space, will eat their fill on lacy, sugar-coated words and spicy vernacular until they explode on the audience. Slam poetry wants my poems to put on makeup, which makes slam poetry a misogynist. Most of all, I hate how I've become a tool for your amusement. An animal in a zoo, you tease me behind plexiglass, your fingers snapping to some rhythmic cadence that I cannot be a part of. You marvel at my mane. Take pictures for your Instagram. To you, I am a spectacle, a pastime, passive poet who throws words onto deaf ears. I am massive lion who roars against deaf ears. We are one, same spirit, same body, yet slam poetry truly thinks that it is safe. Why else would it stand between us, taunting me? Or better yet, slam poetry must really like you. That's why it's always protecting you from me, holding my leash tight as you walk by. I am a wolf that some poor fool picked up as a puppy and tried to raise as a pet. You better be glad slam poetry has an eye for you. Because without restraints, someone like me would give in to the beasts within my body, would terrorize your very thoughts, leave you quaking in a pool of your own piss. And if I ever get the fucking chance, I'd set fire to slam poetry, and this damn stage too.
For June. Good, the next one coming to the stage. Give it up for Matthew Taylor.
To the woman who I would have given my heart to. You were the first person that made my heart cry for a vessel to live in that wasn't my own body. You were otherworldly, and I just wanted to send waves of my consciousness to your alien soul so you would understand. I wanted to be with you more than anything in the world. I longed for you, as the sea longs for the moon. You moved me, and though we saw each other, you were always out of my reach. I knew I could not have you. You thought you belonged to the sky. You thought he put you in a better position than I could, yet he is empty. He cannot give you the things that I can. My love for you teemed with life, and I am still discovering new displays of it even today. You found him the wind beneath your wings, but he gave you Icarus ones to wear. You realized the sky darkens too late. You were in love with your own demise. You didn't see him as I saw him. You were only a satellite to pull along while he had your head spinning. But whenever you graced my presence, I was transparent. Don't act like you never looked at me and didn't see how we looked together. I would not let you win though. I could make another body seem celestial. At first I went for the sun. She seemed more brilliant than you. She was intense. Our relationship was heated with passion, and we looked good together. I thought I finally found someone bigger than you to raise to the heavens. But at the end of the day, my tides did not fall for her as they did for you. I experience you in phases as I seek new women. One woman is the new moon. Though she may be as whole as you are, I cannot see it. We simply embrace and go through the motions. The next woman is the crescent. She is long, slender, and there will be few who wouldn't be transfixed by her curves. She glows brightly, and she knows of her beauty. Yet like you, she is afraid to show me her depths. You saw them as ugly craters and thought it flawed to my glass smooth composure. If only you knew the trenches I dug for you. Another is the waning Gibbons. She is well put together. She seems more than enough to satisfy the average man. But when I look at her, I can see something eating away at her. I cannot pour myself into someone who is pouring themselves out. And yet another is the waxing Gibbons. She was good to me, unselfish, always giving of herself. She provided me everything that I needed and felt not the least bit pushed. Still, the greed of my ego left me wondering what someone else could offer me. I did not deserve her. At the cycle's end, I see you again, the whole of my romance desire. You have a remarkable incandescence. You are the calm that cools my waters and the force that rocks me more passionately and with more care than a mother does her child. If someone like you were not around, there would be nothing to stop the tsunamis and earthquakes in the tectonic place of my heart. My world would be destroyed. So I'm still searching for my Luna, dreaming of the day that I can make her my earth.
Get it one more time from Matt. Judges, 3, 2, 1, put them up. A little high, we have a 7.4, a 7.8, an 8.2, an 8.2, and an 8.6. This gives us a 23.7 after a half-point time penalty. That's what we say after there's a time penalty. Once again, that is a 23.7 after a half-point time penalty. Give it up for the next poet coming up to the stage. Give it a big round of applause for Ashley.
I see that blazer.
Things on fire, blazer.
Everyone in our freshman dorm used to call you Graham because you were the only black guy named Graham who hung out with nothing but white people, hence the word cracker. You didn't laugh. Said it wasn't the first time you tasted so sweet. You heard something so sweet, taste of hard liquor. I remember hearing about you getting arrested that Friday night for being drunk and underage and looking into your soft boy face Saturday morning, wondering if it was just a rumor. No one got put into that cop car that night but you. Today you say it's because you yelled, "Fuck the police!" to the cops. Like no one told you, Graham, you're black. Today, I say it's because you were the only black friend in the group. And how that title has grown on you. I see how your rich white friends look to you, asking you to teach them rap songs, asking you to sing along. You told me you didn't know if you'd last long. Your friends, they never dance, they just watch you and clap their hands. Dance, Graham, dance! So I grabbed your hands, I put my fingers between your black fists, I took you to the dance floor, I freed you of your assigned monochrome color. I told you all about the black girl from Virginia who was trying to disappear in this campus's post-racial society. Everything. You are crumbling. A few more shots and you will be them. A few more shots and you will forget we even met. Maybe you already have. It seems every week I've been piecing back together your memory. Remember, Graham, in 2003, your friends started calling you Graham Cracker. In high school, it became your name. Last summer, your best friend got shot in the head by the police, and now the shootings on the news don't bother you so much anymore. You had no one to tell when it happened. Though I was right here, maybe we would still be friends if you hadn't ignored me, hadn't lied to me. You couldn't understand how someone could care about you. And I couldn't understand that. The only way you know how to treat a friend is how they treated you. The friends that left you stranded outside at a basketball game. The friends that let you black out at a friend's house. The friends that tell you you can't run in their gated communities. I meant it when I said I'd always be here for you. I wanted to be the waterproof barrier that kept them from washing the cinnamon from your skin. I watched you disintegrate in their ignorance. I asked you, Graham, have you ever experienced racism before? You told me They're naive, they don't know any better, they don't have that many friends of color. You will always forgive them for calling you Blackie, for calling you Oreo, for calling you nigger. I will be here for you, come with me. We'll dance again until our skin blends in with the midnight, instead of you, once again, dancing for empty bar stools when they leave you.
Judges, 3, 2, 1, scores up. From low to high, we have a 7.7, an 8.7, an 8.8, a 9.5, and a 9.6. Gives us a total score of 27 even. Give it up for Ashley. And keep that energy going for the next call. Coming up to the stage. Give it up for Julia.
Let's go, Julie.
O'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave. He says, take me to America, land of the free. His name is Gift Ransom. I wonder if his parents had a predestined sense of irony. Kidnapped twice before the age of 20. 15 and taken and taught to hold a gun better than a pencil and leave marks more permanent than pen ink. He was a child soldier running, held hostage in the country of Mandela. He tried to tell them he had no people. That during the war, family became everyone who ran in the same direction. Now he is here, sitting in that chair, staring at me. In a garbage bin, button-up and jeans, he tried his best to add some shine to, pleading to go to America. Take me to America, home of the brave. These, some of the only words he spoke clearly in English, were a heartbreaking chorus for an 18-year-old boy, only a year older than my younger brother. He reminded me of my younger brother when he was still young enough to follow me everywhere in this world our skin has made so safe for us. Gift. Still held on to that childlike sense of hope. It is a miracle that the forest where God does not live didn't steal it from him. Take me to America, the God-blessed place. He said it like a prayer, the only one he had left. My words, a cold confessional. Il est trop dangereux. It is too dangerous. All across the world, our country is considered the safe place, the land of opportunity. How can you tell someone that has survived a civil war that they could die on a sidewalk, that too many already have, that children who look like him have had to learn how to draw chalk tombstones, these pavement grave sites, all they have left of their loved ones? How can you tell someone that use Allah as a lifeline, that it will be the rope this country hangs them from? How can you tell someone plucked from a classroom to hold a machete that the language they fought to hold on to will not be good enough, will label them foreigner, job killer, terrorists, that they will be told to learn English by people who have never seen what the inside of a friend's skull looks like? Do not believe the lies. The streets here are not paved in gold. The American dream is not an equal opportunity employer. This is the country you should be running from, not the one you flee towards.
Give it up for Julia. Judges, 3, 2, 1, scores up. From low to high, we have an 8.3, an 8.7, an 8.9, a 9, and a 9.2. Gives us a 26.6. Give it up for Julia. And keep it applause going for the last quarter of the second round. Let's hear it for Cameron.
It is 1966 Austin, Texas, and pouring out of your TV and radio from UT is the first recorded shooting. It is 1966 Austin, Texas, and broadcasting on your radio and TV from the University of Texas is the first recorded mass shooting. Up there, high at the tip of the observation tower, you can barely see ex-Marine Charles Whitman with his rainmaker of a rifle erect in the air like a lightning rod. He pulls it down and begins shooting. Boom! 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 His shots ring out loudly, the echoes rolling like thunder down to the unsuspecting crowds below. And if you listen closely, you can hear the pitter-patter raindrop sound of feet running. The feedback from the old television screen makes it sound like a monsoon. The rain starts swelling. Even Noah never saw so much flooding. This deluge is biblical. It is coming down in body bag-shaped sheets, and there is no way to measure the precipitation except counting the inches from bat to street. The ground is wet as if it's been pouring for weeks, and there is no water here. Charles Whitman simply made himself a hurricane. Nowadays, in 2015, we make movies about these kind of men. Chris Kyle stares down the scope of his sniper rifle on the top of the New Orleans Superdome in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. His is a great American story of homecoming, our own odyssey. Because when he returned, broken and almost a beggar, to a city and filled with intruders, both Chris and Odysseus decided to string up their bows and start picking off one after another of the looters, the hungry. Piling up in the streets are heaps upon heaps of black bodies, their spilled blood blending in with the up earth of their own city. Stacked upon the debris from their own home lies over 30 residents of New Orleans, which coincidentally is 15 less than Charles Whitman's tally. It's funny. Even Charles admitted to being crazy within his own suicide note, while Chris Kyle told this story in the middle of a radio interview proudly. Of course, he could have been lying. There is no evidence that shows him being present or describes that many unaccounted for dead bodies, but in which case, why make up the story? Maybe he just got caught up in his own mythology. For example, we have for centuries since the days of Homer, known that bravery is just a matter of creating an enemy. It doesn't matter if it's in your own country as long as it is ugly. Paint a picture terrifying enough and you can turn starving families into a pack of wolves. With a few words, you can turn children into collateral, into terrorists, and the beauty of all of this is that the more you kill, the more you're glorious. Separate enough daughters from their daddies, and you'll get a chance to ride through Main Street in a thick mist of confetti pouring down upon you in sheets. Everybody knows that all it takes is a little bit of blood and belief to make a hero.
Give it up for our last quarter of the second round. Give it up for Cameron. Judges, 3, 2, 1, scores up. From low to high, we have a 7.6. We have an 8, an 8, an 8, and an 8.2. Unfortunately, after a 1-point time penalty, that gives us a total score of 23 for Cameron. Give it up for Cameron. Give it up for all the poets that have touched stage in the slam so far. So I've got some bad news and, if you like me, some potentially good news. But bad news first. We're going to say goodbye to 2 of these fantastic poets going into this final round. The good news is, if you like me, I have one more poem that I can read while we are calculating scores and figuring out who's going into the last round. Can I share one more poem with you guys?
Yeah!
Awesome. Thank you very much for indulging me and for being here. You could be anywhere in the world right now and you're here, and I really appreciate that. So let's have a hand for yourselves. That was part to say thank you, and part to see who was listening, and like half the audience is not listening. Let's have a hand for yourselves. So, this is love in 3 parts, part 3. Talked about love that I cannot have, talked about self-love, and this is about the love that we do have, celebrating the people in our lives that love us, that care about us, in spite of everything. This poem I actually wrote like 3 days ago.
Woo! No shit! Fresh off the presses.
Is in response to the Thought Catalog article, What It Is Like to Be in Love When You Have Depression. For Amy, in the time of hanging. On August 11th, 2014, Robin Williams was found hanging in his Bay Area bedroom. 6 months later, I am still trying not to imagine my own lover's heels clicking on the tile, my own body dangling there, blue, gone. 1. The first time I saw you, I didn't smile, which is to say, depression does not care how happy you are supposed to be. 2. I am on edge. I am on the edge. I am the edge. I am waiting for you to fall. You touch my face and reassure me that you already have. 3. I'm sorry that the only thing I have let call this body home is the tornado that uprooted it and that I have not been able to fall for you since. 4. I have 2 colognes. The one I wore on our first date and the one I wore after you told me how good I smelled. The one I secretly hoped you would hate. 5. You loved both. 6. I know you knew the difference. You didn't say anything. When I wore a scarf and no jacket, no sweater, no other outerwear at all to cover the scars on my neck, you didn't say anything. When I hid my insecurities behind movie tickets and restaurant checks, you did not say anything. You simply thanked me, traced the lines as you kissed me, did not try to fix me, only touched me as if to say there is no broken here that is not my broken too. 7. Every time we talk, I apologize for who I am, which is to say, I'm sorry. There used to be more here. And you wonder if there are any ropes in my home. Any pills. Did you know that prisoners in Alcatraz tried to dig through their walls with spoons? I text you as I do the dishes and you ask me what it is I'm trying to escape from. 8. In bed, you press your lifelines into my chest, squeeze my shoulders and kiss my fingertips, the last skeleton I have left. 9. When the moonlight through the cracked window attaches to your skin, it builds entire cities there. I named them Paris, Tokyo, Nairobi. Suddenly, the world is a less fearsome thing, brighter and bigger and more welcoming all at the same time. 10. It is not your fault. I will say that and say that and say that as long as you'll believe it and well after. 11. Depression means being afraid of losing you while actively loosening my grip. 12. I'm trying. 13. I used to think the worst thing in life is to end up all alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is to end up with people who make you feel all alone.